All right, I'm out of the 49ers locker room, and I've got to say that this might be the juiciest intel video that we've ever put together. Why? Because the 49ers, they adapted today in a very powerful way. I mean, just look at Christian McCaffrey's rushing chart from this game. 109 out of 129 yards came in between the tackles. You look at something like this, and normally with a Shanahan outside zone system, you'll see the lines stretching out to the perimeter. Today, they are in between the hash marks. It's because the 49ers decided to big boy the Atlanta Falcons, and they did it very, very successfully. They entered this week saying we need to run the ball 40 times against this blitz-happy defense. Diffuse the blitz. Don't let the offensive lineman and the quarterback be sitting ducks. Run it right at them. Simplify things. Kyle Juszczyk talked about simplification when I talked to him in the locker room. And that's exactly what the 49ers did. But it was a team-wide effort. Just listen to Christian McCaffrey.
Kyle always says it takes a whole team to be able to run the ball. You know, it takes receivers, it takes tight ends. Obviously, it takes O-line. It takes guys like Juice. It takes the quarterback being able to stay on the field on third down. And then it takes a defense stepping up so that you have opportunities to run. You're not super behind. So I've never heard a coach say that, but that makes so much sense to me. You know, to be able to run the ball is a huge team effort, and our guys allowed that to happen today.
So when we talk about team-wide effort, where do we begin? I mean, Mac Jones, quarterback, delivering to Christian on 3rd and 13. 9 of 15 the 49ers went on third downs. The one really long one that they had to convert set up the Christian McCaffrey touchdown, the squat touchdown where he had to push 1,000 yards into the end zone. I mean, that was awesome. We could focus on that play in a little bit, but it was a passing play that set it up. Jones to McCaffrey. McCaffrey had been lined up 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he bolted out of that stance to beat defensive backs for the 17-yard gain that set up his own powerful rushing touchdown. That was the lightning. Then came the thunder. But it just so happened that Christian McCaffrey wasn't even supposed to be in the game on the 3rd and long. But Kyle Shanahan made an adjustment. In the heat of the moment, you saw Christian running back to the sideline, and he said, hey, no, you got to go back in. Unless you're hurt, you need to go back in. We need you for this play. That was the gravity of the moment. McCaffrey went back in, and yes, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's one of the best players in all of football. He showed why today, both on the ground and through the air. Now, on the defensive side of the football, so many interesting things. Beginning with the fact that this was the first game without Fred Warner, and the 49ers gave up only 10 points to an Atlanta team that had completely steamrolled the Buffalo Bills 6 days prior. 6.8 yards per carry for the Falcons and Bijan Robinson against Buffalo. Today they managed only 3.1 per carry against the 49ers, and it wasn't like it was adversity-free for San Francisco today. They gave up a lot of big plays in this game. They were very, very clearly lacking, I think, just the superstar presence that somebody like Fred Warner brings to the middle of the defense, but also lacking a pass rush in some key moments in this game. I mean, there was some 7-on-7 football that Michael Penix Jr. was able to play with Drake London and the rest of this Falcons offense. But Warner was in this building. He was on the field on his scooter to keep his ankle elevated, keep that blood flow there for faster healing. He was on the field during pregame warmups. He was showing up on the scoreboard when he was up in the suite during the game, and the crowd was so loud that the 49ers actually had to go to a silent count. That's how much he was inspiring just the locale here at Levi's Stadium. But it turns out that he was also able to inspire the 49ers players and the very guy who's replacing him on a very personal level. Tatum Bethune showed up to his post-game press conference. He showed up to the stadium today wearing a number 48 jersey, which is his own number. That's Bethune's number, but it was a Warner number 48 jersey. Remember back when Fred wore that number in 2018? Well, Tatum Bethune paid homage to that, and then he spoke about it in the victorious locker room.
Before a walkthrough, on Saturday, he showed up in a meeting room. He surprised us. You know, when guys get surgery, they don't show up for a while, and he showed up, he watched film with us, and he didn't give any pointers, but he allowed us to learn, and he just showed us that he's still here. And for somebody to do that, man, he showed that he really cares, and it's not always about him. And Fred is like a big brother to us. So.
Now, the 49ers defense, I call him a gas can. And I don't mean that in a necessarily negative way. I mean, it could be bad, right? They could blow up in the 49ers' face. And a couple times today, they surrendered some obviously negative plays. And it's impossible for this unit to be a dominant one for the 49ers this year. They are not going to put opponents in a 60-minute stranglehold. Just without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner, with all this youth, it's not going to happen. But the gas can also blow up in the opposition's face. And today the 49ers blew up in the Atlanta Falcons' face a couple times. First, Bryce Huff, that was 2.6 seconds from get off to sack in the first half. The strip sack just tilted the dynamics of this game in the 49ers' favor. 2, Chase Lucas. 4th and 1, Michael Penix trying to go for Drake London. Chase explained how coaching put him into position to make that play. Probably should have been a pick six. The 49ers now don't have an interception in 14 straight games, which is an NFL record. But it was a pass breakup, and that's all the 49ers needed to win this game. And Chase explained so much of the pattern recognition that's set up by Daniel Bullocks, the 49ers DB coach, and Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator. When they give players close to 100 clips to watch on cut-up of each opponent entering the week and ask him to start looking for patterns.
After the Vegas preseason game, you talked a lot about the indicator tape.
Yeah.
When you had the interception there.
Yep.
How big of a file is that? How many plays do they give you every week to study?
I remember when the Vegas game, I told you it was like 130 something. Mm-hmm. This one was probably like around 80. But it's just things that they don't want to say this is 100%, but just keep looking at it. Yeah. So when I just kept looking at it, I'm just like, man, every time he's at 2, man, he's running the option route. Like, he's always outside. So when I got it, when I seen him motion over, I'm like, oh, wow, they're really about to run this on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. And I'm just mad that I missed the opportunity to pick it off, but I'm glad I got to play to win the game.
So that is elite preparation from the 49ers, and maybe that's why they gave up only 3.1 yards per carry after the Bills had given up nearly 7 per carry to this Atlanta team. Just a lot of good work for the 49ers. They needed good defensive tackle play. I thought the return of Kevin Givens up the middle was huge. Obviously, Bethune played well. You know, a sign of a well-coached team. Curtis Robinson had to come into the game on short notice for a series in place of Tatum Bethune. So they had their third-string middle linebacker in there after Fred Warner got hurt last week. Robinson didn't even have time to put the helmet with the green dot on. Like, he didn't have the radio for the play calls in his helmet. Curtis Robinson had to rely on hand signals coming from the sideline, and he had to read Robert Saleh's lips. He combined that with just general knowledge of the game plan. So it was an educated approach from Curtis Robinson to simplify it as much as possible. But the bottom line is that he was prepared to play. The 49ers may not have world-beating talent. I think they're going to have to go out and get an edge rusher to fortify this defense. Bryce Huff is the fastest get-off in the NFL coming off one of the sides. But I think that when an opposing offense is worried only about Bryce Huff being able to bring game-changing get-off and speed and power or whatever he's doing to win on any given snap, if he's the only worry coming from the edge, and if the defensive tackles are not great pass rushers, it's possible to scheme around that. And that's why the 49ers did give up some gashing plays on the defensive side of the ball. I think if they can add a little bit more of a pass rushing presence, it can help this defense immensely. But the fact that they're succeeding, that they held this Atlanta team to only 10 points without some of the real horses, some of the true firepower that should be able to propel a defense to those levels, it speaks to the coaching and it speaks to the preparation of what the 49ers are doing out on that football field. Mac Jones today secured $400,000 in bonus incentive money. That's because in his contract it was $100,000 per win, and it vested at 4 wins. That's the 4th win that Mac Jones has notched, taken at least 50% of the snaps as the 49ers starter. From this point forward, It'll be $100,000 for each win in which Mac Jones takes at least 50% of the 49ers snaps. Now, Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall should be back next week. So we'll see if we do see Mac again starting, but at least he's collected the $400,000. He has quite literally saved the 49ers season. Without Mac Jones delivering the way that he's delivered so far for San Francisco, he threw for 154 yards today. It was much closer to the 49ers run-first formula than we had seen. That they had not eclipsed 100 yards on the ground since week 1, and that was at 3 yards a carry. This was 4.5 yards per carry, and it was 170 yards, and Mac only had to throw 26 times, which is a whole lot better than having to throw, what was it, 49 times against the Rams. But they've needed him to throw a lot because they hadn't delivered this type of rushing offense up until today. They hadn't been able to get back to the formula until today. Mac carried them through. Brock Purdy should be back. The 49ers entering this game led the league in pass attempts and quarterback injuries. Those are correlated numbers. Now they have the steady foundation of a run game that's returned, probably thanks to George Kittle. You should have heard Christian McCaffrey talking about the space that George Kittle creates. He's talking to Mac Jones at his locker. Mac said, 3 yards of space that weren't there before were opening up just because defensive coordinators are so scared of George Kittle. And George, he's not even in shape yet. George is out there and 2 targets, no catches, was being subbed out of the game at a cadence that we're not used to. And it's because he's going to be working into better conditions. So Kittle's only going to get better. Ricky Pearsall will be back next week. Brock Purdy will be back next week. It's a game against the Houston Texans, who have a good defense. The goal for the 49ers, who might see Brandon Ayuk back as soon as week 10, although that's still kind of a guess. It's based on Kyle Shanahan's rather blasé comment about week 10. But Ayuk should be back at some point this season. The bottom line is that weapons are returning on offense. This is finally an offense that showed the groundwork, the framework of what it had surged to great success in 2022 and 2023 with the run game. If the 49ers can now add explosive weapons to it, a quarterback like Brock Purdy, who's got true mobility and ability to extend plays, although Mac Jones did a fine job of that today. He was moving much better this time. He's getting healthier and healthier. 49ers can be elite offensively. And it's elite offense plus a gas can of a defense that can blow up in an opponent's face like they did today with Bryce Huff and with Chase Lucas. Obviously, you're giving these young guys runway to grow, and I don't think they're going to remain static throughout the course of this entire season. But mix that in with an elite offense and mix that in with Eddie Pinheiro and maybe some better kick coverage. That was a little bit of a problem for the 49ers today. And in a wide open NFL, you've got a shot if you're the 49ers. It's as simple as that. It was an absolute attitude game for the 49ers today. That power running is the backbone that the 49ers can truly ride to sustainability as this season progresses. We talk about this being a novel and every single game being a different chapter. Well, this was a hinge point chapter for San Francisco. 5-2 as they move on to Houston. 2-game road trip on turf. First against DeMeco Ryans and the Texans, and then to New York to face the Giants, who suffered a brutal, brutal loss. 33 points scored on them. In the fourth quarter alone, all of Denver's 33 points came in the fourth quarter of a 33-32 loss. George Kittle today on Fred Warner, this is a great quote. He's the aura farmer. How about the scoreboard showing Fred Warner and we had to go on a silent count? Oh, and how about this? Matt Hennessy coming into this game. Jake Brendel, hamstring injury. Matt Hennessy came in. There were several kind of substitution patterns today in this game. The 49ers even stuck Nick Zakelj in there for a little bit. I don't know if Connor Colby was tired. George Kittle, speaking of that, foundational pillar. George Kittle on Connor Colby. This is a veteran setting a standard.
That I expect to see him at our body maintenance on Mondays and Tuesdays because he does not know how to take care of his body yet as a professional athlete.
Well, he knew how to take care of Christian McCaffrey's body on a second touchdown.
He did. Pulled him in there, didn't he? It's fantastic. That's a good Iowa guy.
So that's Kittle on Colby. But speaking of Matt Hennessy, former Falcon goes in there for Jake Brendel. Is going to miss some time with a hamstring injury. 49ers don't skip a beat. Hennessy has to deal with all the communication as the center to set things up and make life easier for the quarterback. It's very important in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. Hennessy, revenge game against his former team. Mac Jones was joking about that in the huddle. Got the job done. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, Curtis Robinson came in for Tatum Bethune for a series. Even though he didn't have the radio in his helmet, got the job done. Safety position for the 49ers. They rotated 4 safeties today. So I think this started with Jair Brown and Marquise Siegel, but then the defense really stabilized when Malik Mustafa came in. He's ultimately going to be a full-time starter for the 49ers. They're still slowly working him in. Jason Pinnock came into this game, but the rotation for the 49ers got the job done. Darrell Luter Jr. came in for Renardo Green, who suffered a toe injury. I thought Luter made some nice plays for the 49ers. You could say he got the job done. I know that it wasn't perfect. I know especially the secondary seemed to give up some big plays behind a pass rush that did struggle. But however the 49ers got to the end result, they got there, which has been a general theme of this season as they've opened it 5-2. Let's see what else we've got to share with you guys. Fred Warner dapping up every teammate after the win. That was big for San Francisco. Just his presence. I mean, Tatum Bethune talked about that, how Fred was in that meeting for the 49ers on Saturday night and how much it meant. When you've got guys like Fred and Nick around, it says a lot about the locker room, the character. I mean, we talk about George Kittle and these guys being foundational pillars, but it also says a lot about the hope in this current year's team in this wide open league. And I'll tell you, if the 49ers can big boy a front like the Falcons, and if they can it's more about them than the team that they're playing. If the 49ers can exact the type of formula that they have been able to employ to great success in the past, the sky really is the limit for their offense. And in a league filled with imperfect teams, if you have one really, really good side of the football and the other sides don't screw it up, you can make things very, very interesting. Anyway, stage is set. Why don't we have a further look into the 49ers locker room, where Mac Jones played well for the 49ers. This was an ultimate team win. The more of these that you can stack, the better things are going to be. That's the feel from the locker room. Here's the actual look into the room after the 49ers beat the Falcons 20-10.
Yeah. Well, really, I got it. Like I said at the beginning, man, I got to give it to Daniel Bullocks and Robert Saleh. They had a great indicator tape for us at the beginning of the game, or at the beginning of the week, and it showed when Drake London motions and he's at 2, he's either going to run an option route or it's going to be flat 7. And I seen how wide the number 1 was with Demo, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try to beat him to the outside as fast as I can. And I put my hands up, man. I swear to God, man, that thing went straight through my hands. But I'm just thankful that, I made the play and that we was able to win the game. That's the biggest thing.
After the Vegas preseason game, you talked a lot about the indicator tape.
Yeah.
When you had the interception there.
Yep.
How big of a file is that? How many plays do they give you every week to study?
I remember when the Vegas game, I told you it was like 130 something.
Mm-hmm.
This one was probably like around 80. But it's just things that they don't want to say this is 100%, but just keep looking at it. So, when I just kept looking at it, I'm just like, man, every time he's at 2, man, he's running the option route. Like, he's always outside. So when I got it, when I seen him motion over, I'm like, oh, wow, they're really about to run this on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. And I'm just mad that I missed the opportunity to pick it off, but I'm glad I got to play to win the game. So
there was a lot of faith in this locker room all week in Tatum Bethune, and it seemed like more than just wishful thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was convinced that he was going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Sure enough.
For sure.
What strikes you about him and the way he played today?
I love his attitude towards the game. I love his passion for the game. And to be honest, I just think that Fred has done a great job of mentoring him. And I've seen him as a young Fred, and I think that he's going to do big things in this league, big things for this organization. And I think, next week and the weeks to come, they're going to be making really big plays. We believe in him, man. And he's our Mike. He's not a captain. He's not just some regular dude. He's our Mike backer, and whatever he needs us to do, we're going to do.
Chase, you play with a lot of poise and some big moments.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Just trusting my training, man. I mean, honestly, man, it's my 4th year in the league. This is my first start, so I've always known it. I've always believed it. I just had to, show it to other people, and I believe, Sunday night football was the best way to show it, so I'm glad I did.
How difficult is it to switch Mike backers in the middle of a game, and how much better was the communication in this game than last game?
I'm not going to say it was it was crazy better, but it's hard, man. I got to give it to Curtis too, man. As soon as Tatum went down, he was already ready to go. He didn't even have a mic in his helmet, and he was just getting the calls from the sideline. So big shout out to him, and it is hard, man. But I think we got the players in here to do it. So, and I think, you know, if Tatum went down, God forbid he won't, but I think Curtis would be a great, you know, backup for the mic.
Yeah, I feel like everybody, whether they're a backup or a part-time player, they prepare to be a starter. If that happens, you know, God forbid somebody gets injured, but when the time comes to step up, I feel like everybody's prepared well enough to get the job done.
It seemed like you were working in different directions today, like doing a variety of different things. Was that the case?
You said it was I was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had a very different type of offense. They're getting the ball, spreading the ball around a good bit with screens and bounces and crack toss and all kinds of stuff. It was definitely a hustle game.
Do you feel like this was a game where you really felt more comfortable out there in this game?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it just started with practice, honestly. We just kind of put together a great week of practice and preparation of the D-line, and I feel like it showed up tonight.
How did you feel Tatum Bethune was in communication today?
I feel like Tay did a great job stepping up for Fred. And with him going down, like, that's a big road to fill, big shoes to fill, and he definitely got it done.
Did you feel like you guys were being overlooked at all? I mean, everyone's talking about your the two anchors of your defense are out, and you know the 49ers aren't going to do the same. Did you feel like you guys had something to prove?
I don't feel like we necessarily got overlooked or anything like that, but injuries are unfortunately part of our game. And the younger guys and guys that might not necessarily have been playing a lot of snaps were preparing like starters, and when their time came, they all stepped up.
Thanks,